Okay, today what we're doing is we're stripping paint from the Eastern bike frame that we got from the storage unit. I'm fixing this up for my nephew. We're gonna paint this after we strip it, and what I'm using here for the paint stripper is Clean Strip KS3 Premium Stripper. It works pretty quickly. You must use a brush to put it on and make sure that you put it into a metal container. Leave it on for a few minutes. It says about 15. It works in less than 15 minutes, and then you can begin scraping the bike frame to remove the paint. I'm using a 7-in-1 tool to remove the heavy stuff, and then I use a piece of steel wool to kind of get off the small stuff, and it seems to work pretty well. I do think this is much better than sanding at first to remove the layers. This way that you can get the paint stripper down to by applying a paint stripper to the bike frame, it gets it down to the metal quite quickly. So I recommend that you definitely use a paint stripper to remove paint from a bike frame. Okay, alright, here we have the Eastern bike frame, BMX bike frame that I've been stripping the paint off of. And I use the Clean Strip, the KS3 Premium Stripper, as I mentioned before in part 1. Also, what I want to mention is the safety of this. If you get this stuff on your skin, the stripper on your skin, it will burn. So please use a nice thick plastic glove, something that looks sort of like these right here, that you can find in a supermarket or Home Depot, Lowe's, whichever home improvement store you shop at locally. This really didn't take too long to do. I would say probably about an hour, and it's pretty much stripped. I'm just working on the stem right now for the seat. I want to go ahead and clean that up a little bit. And I used that scraper, as I said before, the 7-in-1, which you can see right there. And then, you know, some of the stuff that the big stuff is taken off by using that, and then some of the small stuff you can use steel wool. And the type of steel wool that I used here, I will show you, is this brand right here. And if you notice, this is a number 2, which is very, very coarse, and it's used to basically just strip off heavy stuff. So there you have it. I'm going to be working on the forks and the handlebars to strip those off. And before I prep this, as I prep this for paint, this bare metal here, I'm going to make sure that this bare metal is extremely clean. And the way that you do that, a simple way of doing that, is using a vinegar, either white or apple cider type vinegar, and put it on a rag and then rub it across the metal, so all the oils or any kind of residue that's left on the bike frame can be removed from the bike frame before the primer coats are added to the bike frame and the final paint. Hello, here we are again. You're looking at the Eastern BMX painted bike frame that you saw in the earlier part of the video that I had stripped the paint off of. This is the finished product. I was able to find some of the parts that I needed on Craigslist at a reasonable price, and put the bike together. I'd like to go ahead and discuss the paint process that I went through, since I wasn't able to videotape it. It's a long process that goes through many coats of putting different coats of primer, a top coat, and then I put a protective coat on there, which was a clear gloss, and then on top of that I sprayed it several times with a lacquer. So it took a while for it to all cure and bake to the bike frame, but I think it went on pretty good. It's almost like it looks like a surface that you would see in appliances, household appliances. It looks very, very durable. I'll do a close-up here in a second, but I'll go ahead and say what I need to say about this paint. I used 2 coats of primer, and then after the primer was dried, and I did this in direct sunlight so it would dry real quick so I could do it fast, and this was done all in one day, and then it was cured for a couple days. It didn't dry for a couple days. So what I did was I put the 2 coats of primer on there. I sanded it down and I cleaned up the frame so the dust was off of it, and then I began to use the flat black spray cans. Now I use the flat black because I have in mind of putting a protective clear coating on it, and then on top of that of putting an additional coats of lacquer on it. And when you do this, if I were to go ahead and get the if I would go ahead and buy the glossy black paint in the cans, then it's not gonna, those other coats that I'm gonna put on are not gonna stick as well to that. So I went ahead and had that rough kind of flat matted look because I was gonna add my gloss to it, not what is added to a gloss black spray can. So I hope that makes sense to you. But it also gives me additional layers of paint. So I don't recall, I believe this thing might have taken probably about 3 or 4 cans of black that I just put on there, you know, and I made sure that the surfaces were nice and wet as it was being sprayed on there, but still using the direct sunlight in the heat of the day to be able to bake it and dry it in a good way to where you didn't see a lot of overspray and all that sort of stuff. When you're doing this type of spraying, you want to point your spray gun like right here. I'm going to do a close-up here in a little bit of what the paint job actually looks like, so bear with me on being panned out here like this. But point the spray gun right here before you make your cross across the bike to the back of it. And same goes when you're starting from the back and going back the other way. Start off from the back of the bike and then come across to the front so you know exactly where you're pointing at, and you don't get this, you know, big wet spot at the beginning because you're not sure where you're at and where you're pointing at. So that's one of the tips. The other is that once the black got onto the bike frame, and then I started with a clear protective Rust-Oleum spray can, and it was clear protective gloss that I had sprayed on there. It's kind of thin. It comes out real thick, and since these bars are curved, you're going to have a real problem if it's not drying quick enough of the paint job, and also especially the clear protective spray and the urethane spray. I'm sorry, the lacquer spray. The lacquer spray is very thin. The stuff almost comes out, it can come out very dry, but it's very thin, or I'm sorry, it goes on kind of pretty heavy, so you're going to have to stand back from this thing, from the bike frame, your surface, and get used to the distance that you're spraying at with the paint itself, and then also when you're switching over to lacquer, because it's 2 different techniques on how to get it on there good. So when you're spraying lacquer, it will come up like your, oh, let's see here. It'll look milky. It'll have a milky look to it if it's starting to go on real thick. And you got to be very cautious if you're seeing that on the curved pieces. And I was working on the down bar of the bike. I noticed the run started to happen, and what I ended up doing was getting a blow dryer, and blow dryers will heat up pretty good. You don't want a heat gun because that'll bubble it, but you can get pretty close with a blow dryer and sort of bake it on there, and then work that ripple out, work that run out of that curve, and you'll see it starting to dry, and it'll spread. You know, it'll spread across the surface and lay itself down. So there is a way around that if you do have a couple of run spots that happen. Now what I did with this one is, after I did the flat black spray cans, I had some of the silver chrome paint, and I used to wind, as you can probably hear on this videotape. It's kind of windy out here today, and I wouldn't spray on a real windy day, but you always have a mild wind. And I had this silver paint, so I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and put some silver paint, you know, kind of like sprinkle it on there so it looks like a flake in it, metallic flake. So I did that before I put on the clear coat and the lacquer. So I'm gonna step up here and let you take a look and see what I did with this coating. So, and maybe you can see that there's flake. There's like a silver gun smoke, gun barrel flake in it, and it's real shiny and stuff. See the sparkles there. Real durable, like appliance. The way appliances are. I did the flake back here, so it's on all the frame parts. But the handlebars don't have it. I just sprayed those with flat and then put the protective coatings on those. The front forks are just black too. They don't have the silver on it. You can see the silver right there. And it doesn't focus very well. So that's how I did everything, and it turned out pretty good. I like it. It's kind of a cool bike. I don't know a lot of the brand names of the parts on it, but you know, it's a bicycle. This right here, I went ahead and also even put some paint stripper on that. That was like a purple with some goofy looking stuff on it. So I went ahead and stripped that off. It's a block of aluminum, which is, you know, once you get it stripped down, take some steel wool across it and put some polish to it. You know, aluminum shines pretty good. So I just left that plain. I didn't worry about painting that. And the seats are Premier. The wheels are something else. The cranks are something else. I don't know. I found those on Craigslist, and I was real thankful for it. Got the rear brakes, which are not hooked up at the moment. I need a cable and a lever. That's the only thing I'm missing. I just put some new tires on it and tubes. So it's good to go. It's good to go. I like it very much.
I knew I had to